To stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask Matt English, our Highway Superintendent, to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. This meeting will go until 6:55. We will suspend it, and then the public hearing will continue on the October 21st board meeting. And at that time, we will make any changes between now and then we will approve the benefit basis and the ad valorem. So I'm going to ask if anyone has any additional questions or concerns or asks, recommendations. You can email the town clerk's office after this public hearing with any additional questions. But right now I'm going to turn it over to Megan Wennick, our finance director, who has put a PowerPoint presentation together regarding the budget.
So welcome, thank you all for coming to the Town of West Seneca 2020 tentative budget hearing. The purpose of this presentation is to give you a better understanding of the budget process and also to look at a few items that have significant impact on this year's budget. We're going to begin with an overview of the budget timeline. This might be hard to see. My presentation will be posted on the town's website after this meeting. The majority of the deadlines in this calendar come straight from the New York State Comptroller's Office. Everything starts off in June when the department heads are provided with their budget packets. These packets include the past 3 years of actual expenses, where they are in the current year, and they take this along with any known needs for the upcoming year and any new mandates to put together their requests. The requests must be submitted to the budget officer by the end of July. In the beginning of August, they have the opportunity to sit down with the budget officer and substantiate their request. The budget officer takes all this information and puts together the tentative budget, which is filed with the town clerk and made available to the public. The tentative budget is presented to the rest of the town board. They can make changes, and these changes then convert the preliminary budget, or the tentative budget, into the preliminary budget. The public hearing is then held. This meeting must be held on or before the Thursday immediately following the general election. After the public hearing, any final revisions can be made to the budget by the town board, and then it must be voted on and adopted no later than November 20th. Our town has two different types of budgets. The first is the ad valorem budget. The ad valorem budget, taxes are levied based on the real property value of your home or business. This includes the general fund and the highway fund. The highway fund is self-explanatory, but for those that aren't familiar, the general fund includes the police department, your town clerk, recycling and sanitation, engineering, youth and adult recreation, basically any department that doesn't fit into a specific special revenue fund. The second type of budget that we have is the benefit basis budget. For the benefit basis budget, taxes are levied based on the services that are provided to the taxpayer. This includes our sewer districts, our water districts, our lighting districts, and our drainage district. Again, I know this is hard to see, but we pulled a tax bill with a home with our town's average assessed value of $60,000 or with a fair market value of $150,000 to give you a visual of what we're talking about here. So you can take these home and compare them to your own tax bills. These are 2019 tax bills. The one on the left is the town and county tax bill that you receive mid-January, and the one on the right is the one that you get from the school district in the middle of September. The town's ad valorem tax is the portion highlighted in blue on the left tax bill, and it's labeled general town tax or highway tax. The town's benefit basis tax is then beneath that. We have over 100 special districts in our town, So what's included on your tax bill is going to be different based on what district you're in, what resources are used for that district, and any debt that's been issued on behalf of your district. So if you have a specific question on your benefit basis tax, I would recommend you reach out to me directly, and I'd be happy to go through what's included on your tax bill. To offer an additional visual, this chart breaks down the allocation of the 2019 ad valorem tax for the average household. Of the $4,728 of ad valorem tax, $2,674 goes to the school district, $779 goes to the county, and the remaining $1,275 comes to the town. So when we're talking about the ad valorem tax, that's only on that 26.9% that comes to the town. This is a summary of the town's 2020 tentative tax rates. There are 4 components of every municipal budget. The first is your appropriations, or in other words, your expenditures. You subtract from that any estimated revenues that you have, and also your appropriated fund balance that you wish to use. Appropriated fund balance is the use of the town's savings to offset your taxes. This leaves you with the amount to be raised by taxes. This amount to be raised by taxes is divided into the town's total assessed value to come up with the tax rate. So what does this mean for you? The effect on an average home for the 2020 tentative budget would be an increase from your prior year tax bill of $35.96, or an increase of $3 on your monthly escrow account. At the end of the presentation, I'll leave up a slide that shows the effect for various different assessed values, so you can kind of make that more relatable to you. You may be interested to see how each tax dollar received is spent. This graph is a comparison of your tax dollar for 2020 to how it was budgeted for 10 years ago in 2011. Due to the rising costs of legacy benefits, as well as capital projects, increased litigation costs, Erie County chargebacks, and the cost of general liability insurance, less of your tax dollars spent on public safety and transportation. However, these departments are still expected to perform at the same level or at a greater level than they were 10 years ago. There are a few factors we'll now look into greater detail on as they are significant to the 2020 budget. That includes our recycling and garbage processing contract, the town's existing debt service commitments, required employee costs, and the services that are provided. The town's previous contract for garbage processing and recycling ended on January 31st, 2019. This contract was bid out and awarded to Modern Disposal Services for a 3-year term. Under the previous contract, the town was charged $39.50 a ton for garbage processing. Under the new contract, this rate increased to $43.75 per ton. On average, 18,195 tons are collected monthly, and as such, 800,000 has been appropriated for garbage processing, which is an increase of $150,000 from the prior year's budget. Per the bidding documents, proposed weekly rate was $63.18, and the biweekly rate was $42.21 per parcel, with an additional flat cost of $182,700 for processing. If the town were to have continued with weekly recycling, this would have meant an increase to the budget of about $550,000. By converting to a bi-weekly recycling schedule, the town limited this increase to $210,000. We often receive questions on our bonded debt. So this chart is a summary of the payments that are included in each fund for 2020. It's a decrease of about $95,000 from the prior year due to regular scheduled debt service payments and also the fact that no new debt was issued in 2019. So on an average assessed home of $60,147.28 of your $1,311.16 ad valorem tax goes towards debt service costs. And this includes both bonded debt payments and the energy performance contracts. So what makes up your debt service cost for that average assessed household? As you may be able to see, the largest portion, $72.92, goes towards roads. $24.06 goes to the community center library. $10.23 for street lighting, an additional $10.23 for garbage totes, $7.77 goes to general equipment, $6.42 to the police headquarters expansion, and $4.90 to the ice rink project that was completed. As always, employee cost has a significant impact on our budget. There are 3 unions in the town: the white collar, the blue collar, and the police benevolent association contracts. These are settled through 2021, 2020, and 2020 respectively. For health insurance, we're part of the Labor Management Healthcare Fund. This is a coalition of various governmental entities that pool together to purchase health insurance at a more competitive, lower rate. The experts at LMHF are constantly monitoring our activity to ensure we're getting the best possible rate for our specific population. While the cost to provide health insurance has increased over $2.8 million since 2010, we're happy to say there's no increase in health insurance for the 2020 budget. Lastly, as a municipality, we're required to participate in the New York State retirement system. Mandated payments to the retirement system have almost doubled over the past 10 years. This slide shows our 3 highest cost departments: our police department, our highway department, and our refuse and recycling department. While these may come at a cost, we believe that they provide an exceptional level of service to our residents. Our police department prides itself on having a proactive approach to public safety. In fact, thanks to our police department, our town's been voted the safest town in Western New York multiple times. Also, our police department is one of the few that's received accreditation from the New York State Department of Criminal Justice. Our highway department has bi-weekly brush pickup, offers free mulch and compost. They have curbside leaf pickup, electronics drop-off, and they also clean and maintain our flooding structures. Our sanitation department has weekly grass pickup from May to December, or weekly large item pickup, and they also pick up small items that you leave outside of your tote. Again, thank you so much for coming and for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, my contact information is here, and it's also on the town's website under the finance department.
Thank you very much, Megan. If anyone from the public has any comments or suggestions, you may come up to the podium and state your comments.
Good evening.
Good evening.
A few questions. So I noticed that we're using $250,000 from our fund balance to keep the taxes down. It keeps the taxes down by about 1% from the increase. Given that when our credit rating was downgraded by Moody's in 2018 for failure to maintain structurally balanced operations and multi-year operating deficits, and one of the factors that could lead to a further downgrade by Moody's is structurally imbalanced budget resulting in deteriorating fund balance levels. Is this use of the fund balance appropriate? Is this reducing our fund balance level by using the $250,000? I don't know, who knows?
I don't think we were taking questions, we were just asking, you're just here to have suggestions at the public hearing, but Megan,
Well, I think it's important that we understand, you know, what's being done in our name.
Go ahead. I mean, I would say that the use of appropriated fund balance in the past, was well over $1 million, and the town has worked each year to further decrease that.
But this is continuing a trend of fund balance going down, right?
We're down to the use of 250,000.
Yeah, okay. This is a trend which had resulted in a downgrade. And could result in another downgrade because the trend is continuing. In your letter, Ms. Megan, about the, your cover letter, it talks about, as Ms. Winnick mentioned, the cost of garbage. So that $39.50 up to $43.75, that was for regular garbage? So that's about a roughly, it's about a, where'd it go? There we go. It's about a 11% increase in tipping fees. But the budget line went up 23%. Why is that?
It's refuge, it's both recyclables.
I'm sorry, I don't probably.
Can't hear you.
It's both recyclables.
And garbage.
Well, no, that line is for sanitation garbage, it went up 23%. And in your letter, you said the cost went up 11%, so I'm just wondering where all the extra money went.
Well, there is no extra money, but I can answer that.
Well, when the bill goes up 11%, yet you're asking us to pay 23% more, you don't know why?
It's the employees.
The line has been,
No, this is the fee for garbage, the service. I mean, for the tipping fee. It's in the budget.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Oh, okay, well, it's not employees.
the line has been, historically, under budget, and it had been incrementally increased, and then we increased it to meet this year's contract.
So you said it was under budget, so how much did we spend on tipping fees then last year for the regular?
$688,000, or $688,46.
All right, so that's a little bit more, it's 30,000 more than 650, but that still leaves probably over $100,000 extra over and above what the cost of the increase in the tipping fees was, but, okay, we'll move on to the next one then. So when it says the landfill recycling costs, so is that the contract basically? Okay, thank you. In the workman's comp cost for the general fund went up about 14%, and workman's comp for the highway department went up about 10%. Is that all insurance, or does that include payouts?
It includes
It includes some payouts, okay. There's, in the highway fund, there's something called health and welfare insurance, and that went up 40%. It seems to be separate than medical insurance, so what is health and welfare insurance?
that's through the CSCA, that's their dental and vision.
Oh, that's the dental and vision? Boy, it went up 40%, okay. What's our total debt outstanding?
The total bonded debt?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't have it.
Okay, we can get it. In the police, I noticed that the amount spent on public safety dispatchers dropped 42%, over $400,000. Why was that? I mean, did we suddenly lay off a bunch of people, or?
That would have just been based on the payroll that I was provided in the past. I double checked everything this year and coded people on the appropriate pay code. So they still have been under the police department, they just might have been budgeted in a different line, so I fixed that for this year.
What line were they budgeted on?
I believe one of the other lines went down a lot.
So you're saying that last year it was incorrect?
From one one line together. The total amount would have been correct, but between the two lines.
Okay. In the general fund, there's something called general liability, fire and theft consultation. It went up from $220,000 to $230,000. What is consultation?
That's right.
That's just the insurance carrier, it's not we don't have a consultant.
That's the insurance carrier
Yes,
for general liability, okay.
for property and casualty.
I noticed that there's two secretaries in the highway department, but I don't see a budget line for them. What are-
Secretaries, one's a highway maintenance clerk, and one's a secretary to the highway supervisor.
Right, but there's no line for them. There's no budget line. Like all the other secretaries in
Well,
town
they're
seem to have their own
white
budget
collar.
lines.
They're white collar, they're in the white collar unit,
No, where? Because I don't see them.
they're in the general fund.
I looked, I don't see them anywhere.
They're in, the first line in the highway fund, the 25110-144.
I'm sorry, that's, what page?
Page A17.
A17?
Yeah.
What are
For the
they?
detail. They're part of the, 55.
Oh, so they're included with the regular labor.
That's part of their, salary.
Is that okay to include the secretaries with the laborers in the cost? Because it doesn't seem to be anywhere else in the budget.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
part of their
So I noticed there's a bunch of people in town that are getting, some of them are getting 9% pay raises, some 8% pay raises. The senior citizen, at least the budget line, senior citizen program director up 4%, recreation director up 9.7%, code enforcement, two inspectors, their total cost up 8.6, housing inspector up 9.7, electrical inspector up 8.6, assessor clerk typist up 9.5. Both town justices, two town justice clerks up 11% pay raise. I mean, why are these massive pay raises?
Gary, some of that is the raise itself, some of them are step increases where their contract takes them to the next grade in that step. Could be longevity, there's different reasons. It looks like it's a raise, but it's a multitude of steps that makes it look like a 9% or an 8% raise.
Yeah, but some of these people aren't in the contract, so this is voluntary.
But they follow the same guidelines or the same rules.
Right, they don't have to. They don't have to. If we wanted to save money, we could control costs some way. If you gave all those just 2.5%, then you'd save the town about $58,000.
I'm sure, that's true.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Gary, I do believe that several of those are in the union and they do get, like, for example, the code enforcement officers are all union members, so they would be, and they're still younger employees, so they're getting their steps, plus whatever the annual raise was.
Well, the annual raise is 2.5.
And they would get their.
So you're saying
They
that,
would get, they would speak, they're probably starting to get longevity and, normal step increases from year to year.
so that gives them an almost 10% pay increase. Okay.
At times that does happen, unfortunately it does.
And some of them though are, like I said, given raises by resolution, so they're not in the contract.
Which ones specifically are you talking about?
Well, let's see, the clerks to the justices, we're getting 11% pay raises, that's seems to be by resolution. For example,
Well, some of them are union, so
yeah, but it's set by resolution, so it's not an automatic. You guys said it in the reorg meeting.
Yes, but all are, those who have been chosen by the judges as their appointments follow the
Right.
white collar contract.
Right, the white collar contract doesn't go up 11%.
Well, if they've been here
Okay,
they follow that.
all right. I think that's about it, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Anyone further? Do any of the department heads have any comments regarding the budget? No? Okay. Then I will just, do you want to make a comment, sir?
Can I get up and speak?
Of course. That's the whole idea of a public hearing. By all means, come on up.
Yeah, my name is Lynn Burgess. I live at 115 Dirksen Avenue. I used to be an employee with the Town of West Seneca Highway Department for 35 years. Presently work for the schools driving school bus. I know it's under the union contract. The garbage guys work 5 hours a day and get 8 hours pay. And you guys spent all this money years ago to convert the trucks with the tote things for one employee on the back, like the modern disposal uses. You have two. So you're wasting a lot of taxpayers' money every day.
Well, I disagree, sir, but, you know, that's,
Well, just in a general figure, say every employee makes $30,000 a year. Times, there's about 30 employees counting the leaf
Sure.
pickups, the grass and all that. So that comes to, in salaries, $900,000 a year.
right.
And these guys are getting 5 hours pay for that kind of wages.
Well, I would offer Mr. English an
I know.
opportunity to speak to it
He's probably
because
gonna
it's at
be
his.
PO'd at me, because I used to.
No, it's at his discretion as he
Yeah.
wants to hand out the working orders every day, so.
Well, it's in the, I think it's in the sanitation contract where they get 8 hours pay for 5 hours work. Am I right?
In the contract,
In their contract, no?
but I believe that if we were to go down to just one guy,
Right,
Lynn, you'd be paying massive overtime.
okay.
Because how are they gonna pick up? We get through it right now with two
Okay.
guys, and and as you know, the alternates only make $12 an hour.
I didn't know what they made.
$12.
Yeah.
That's what half of that work.
The subs, they call it.
Yeah, the alternates, they make $12 an hour,
Right,
okay? If you were to do it like, the recycling,
right,
you'd be paying massive amounts of overtime because you'd have one truck. They would
okay.
go down one side of the street, then down the other side of the street.
I understand that
Your
part.
time would be double,
Right,
you know, because right now we have guys that go out, and you know it, you did it when you were a garbage man.
well, yeah, but I had to work,
No,
I had to stay there for 8 hours a
Yeah.
day.
I remember Christmas Eve, 1988, I was on the back of a garbage
I
truck.
mean, I started
9
working,
o'clock at night.
1973 is when I started my employment with the town.
Right,
And
also-
we had 8 hours, we had to stay there 8 hours.
But you didn't have as many homes to pick up either.
Right.
We had 7
Well,
trucks
Okay.
going, and we used to pick up everything. Yard waste, tires, you name it, went in the back of that garbage truck.
we still do. We take
So-
everything and anything.
You know where I'm coming from.
No. Well, I don't agree with you because I think it would take longer and
All right.
massive amounts of
Couldn't
overtime.
you utilize those employees 8 hours a day doing highway work?
You can't.
Why can't you?
It was filed a grievance. You were working there when there was a grievance filed.
When I worked there,
Can I
we were
finish?
one department. Yes, we were.
In 1987, they divided it into two departments.
That's,
Glenn.
yes, I know,
And if you remember, there was a grievance filed.
right?
Remember, I was part of it. They took the garbage men and had us shoveling leaves on the back of the garbage, in the back of the
I
garbage
remember
trucks. Pat Finnegan.
Yeah,
And they were filed a grievance and the town lost the grievance.
okay.
Because they were doing highway work.
I've just brought this up as a taxpayer, not a former employee.
No, I
Where
know.
there's ways the town could save some money.
And I'm not saying there isn't, but I don't believe that putting one guy on the back of a garbage truck would save you money. And I'd also worry about the health, or the safety of that guy.
Then why does Modern Disposal and all the private companies do it that way?
They have a side lift that goes into the side. They don't have back lifts.
I watched Lackawanna go down Egan in the morning with one laborer and one driver.
The recycling truck at my house.
No, this
has
is
a
a
guy-
garbage truck. He pulls the bin out, hooks it to the thing, and then dumps it. They go down to the end of Egan, come back up, do the same thing.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it would
It's
be
2
cost
employees
effective.
versus 3.
I just don't think it would be cost effective when it would be you'd be doing one stop at a time, so you double your time. So now, these guys are they're getting done now about 1 o'clock, because, and I'm not gonna toot my own horn here, but about 3 years ago, we cut a garbage route. We
Okay.
cut a garbage route. And in the winter, we go down to 5 routes.
I
We do
didn't
go
know that.
6 in the winter.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 years ago, the town board asked me to cut a garbage route, we cut a garbage route. And we go with 5 routes most of the winter months.
Mhm.
But I just think it's more cost effective to be, if you have guys one side of the street at a time instead of 2, and they're out there now doing it in 6 hours, so with one guy on that truck lifting,
They're only
one
doing it in
driver.
5 hours.
Now, these guys usually don't punch out till about 1 o'clock now, then.
Okay.
But,
That
you
I
know,
didn't
there is days they
understand.
punch up, Thursdays is a big route, you know, how it goes. There's big
Right.
routes or small routes. But I just think that if it's taking them 6 hours, and even if you said 5 hours to get done
Mhm.
with 2 lifters, that's 10 hours with one.
Right, I
So now you're
understand.
paying overtime.
I don't know what their
and-
wages
and-
are or anything,
and
I
we
just
have
thought maybe this was
3,
a
6, 9, 12.
cost-effective way of
Right.
saving some money.
And we have 14 or 15 full-time employees. The other 12 guys are making $12
They're
an hour.
seasonal, yes.
No benefits.
Yes.
So I think that it's the best way to do it cost.
Another thing I've noticed with some of the other towns is the rubbish pickup. They don't do it on a daily basis, they do it on a monthly basis.
Mhm.
So you got 3 guys going there every day, getting paid to pick up rubbish. Where Cheektowaga has once a month, or once every other week, Lancaster,
And the people in
Elma.
West, and you know what?
Elma doesn't even have rubbish pickup, you gotta get rid of it yourself.
That's correct, because
Yes.
you don't pay for it. I think the residents in West Seneca love that they
Well,
can
they're
throw out
spoiled.
I think the residents in West Seneca love that they can throw out a couch every week if they want to.
And I see
Or if
people-
your
I see people
refrigerator,
that don't live in West Seneca bring it to their friends to get rid of it.
or if your refrigerator is bad and it stinks, you can put it out the very next day if that's your garbage day. I think that's a service that the people of West Seneca really like, having able to put
I
stuff
like
out
it,
every day.
but you know, I
Well, you
just-
like it,
just-
so,
Thank you,
Just getting,
Yeah.
my taxes keep going up, that's all. Thank you.
thank you. Anyone further?
My name's Deborah Koshinsky, and we just moved into West Seneca in January from Amherst. And this again is talking to the garbage pickup. Amherst has outsourced theirs, and our taxes in Amherst were a lower rate than they are in West Seneca. My house is valued less here, but my taxes are the same as I was paying in Amherst. So there's gotta be something that has to be looked at in this budget, if perhaps we can start outsourcing some of this stuff. Because Amherst did a few years ago, the whole time I lived there, Amherst Town did not pick up our garbage, and we had great pickup of garbage. They had contracted with, I don't know if it might have been Modern for that and the recyclable. So I'm just thinking to myself that we moved out here because I wanted to live out here, I like West Seneca a lot. However, if the taxes keep going up, we're gonna move back to Amherst.
Where do you live?
I live on Pinewood Drive, off of near West Seneca
Off
East.
Seneca Street.
Yes,
Okay, I would ask that you look at your tax bill,
we have, and we
and
have,
and what the town gets is just the general fund and the highway fund. We only get those 2 lines.
I am looking at that. I'm an accountant and I know how to read the tax bill.
I
And we have also gone to the town of West Seneca when we moved in because our house was way overvalued. They wouldn't even take my bank appraisal. They're still valuing us $25,000 higher than the bank said I'm valued at. And they're telling me I have 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. I've got 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms. And I think that should reflect in my tax rate. So there's something going on that has to be looked at in West Seneca on how the assessments are being done.
Did you allow the assessor to enter your home?
He did not want to enter our home. He told us that we got a bargain of the century. And that we shouldn't worry about it because my husband's a veteran and he gets disability off of that. So that's how come our taxes would be lower anyways. But I said, no, it should not, they should not even mention that. We should have our assessed value.
Okay, I'm gonna look into that
Okay,
for you.
it's
What number are you?
170 Pinewood Drive.
I'm on it.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you
Okay,
for stopping
all right.
and welcome to West Seneca.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am.
Sheila, last town board meeting, I heard some gentleman, I don't know who it was, okay, but he got up here and he was saying about the taxes. And you and Honest Bill there basically said about the only thing you're responsible for is the capital fund and the highway. Well, I dug out just one article here from years ago, a couple of years, or a couple of months. Approval of $1.8 million loan from the general fund to the capital fund to cover costs of the town receives for grant payments. How many loans did we take on the capital fund that is costing the taxpayers money? Do you know? I'm sure this ain't the only one.
The only loan I'm aware of is the one we loan the highway department money.
Well, then there's a second one here, because this went to the library.
The loan that you're talking about is made to bridge, capital costs. The grants have not been received yet. Once the grants are received, they pay to the capital and it'll repay the general.
Will I be alive when you finally get that grant?
Start taking care of
Thank
yourself.
you.
I try to take care of myself, but I gotta keep giving you my milk money. But anyways, obviously, don't you think you could basically lower the capital fund if you didn't keep borrowing on it?
The borrowing
Yeah,
for
borrowing.
that, yes.
Yeah. But this is only one, I mean, how many don't we know about that you borrowed? This, I'm sure you just mentioned the second one.
When you borrow, you have to make it public.
Well, it says here borrowed, so I don't know.
Well,
Maybe you
it's
misworded it or something. Maybe the paper didn't put it right or whatever, but it says borrowed here.
I think what Councilman Hart said is correct, it's a bridge loan. That's
Well,
what
you mentioned one and he mentioned one. What don't we know about?
Unfortunately for the state of New York, they're very slow in reimbursing you for anything. As you know, being a former councilman.
Oh, you're right. And as a former councilman, I'm glad you brought it up, Mr. Hart. You talk about,
Sorry.
I'm glad you brought it up. I tried like hell to work for the people in this town. I gave half of my salary back. I did not receive any benefits. Any of you people doing that?
We cut our pay the first 3 years.
Are you still taking benefits? You taking a retirement? You taking insurance?
Nothing.
No insurance, no benefits?
No, nothing but the salary.
Half pay? Oh, you took a $500 cut or something, right?
3 $500 cuts.
Well, I done very well at half salary.
There was a reason for that, Clark, we know that.
I know there was a reason for it, but the town benefited from it. The town benefited, Mr. Hanley. So, on this bill, do you think maybe you could work for the town and the taxpayers by doing the same thing? Huh?
I already did the first 3 years in office.
Yeah, you took thousands of dollars from us and you gave back a couple of pennies. Sheila gave up more than you did. Oh, thank you, Sheila, by the way. You know. I gotta go.
That was good, Clarky. Rest well.
I do.
Anyone further? Okay, then we're gonna suspend the public hearing until October the 21st. In the interim, please feel free to send us any of your comments or recommendations.
Send those comments to the town clerk's office, she'll forward those on to the board.
So the town board meeting will begin at 7 o'clock for all those who are interested in staying for that. Other than that, I bid you a good night.